We are recording. So thanks everybody for being here tonight. It's our August meeting for Cleveland Park Neighborhood Association. I'm Sarah Beth Urban. I'm the chair of the Neighborhood Association. Normally on the call we'd have Justin Jackson, who's my co-chair, Frank Hundley, who's our treasurer, JP Urban, my husband, who's our secretary, who's, like I said, downstairs monitoring children. And then Russell Kirchner, who's our Sergeant at Arms and Beautification Commissioner. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Sergeant Fisher, who's got an update for us for a crime report.
All right. So like I was saying earlier before everybody else jumped in, crime report's little or nothing, which is always a great thing when I get to go to a neighborhood and go, I got much to talk to you about. Crime analysts pulled your data. There was only a total of 8 incidents. 6 of those are break into vehicles. Of those 6, 3 of them were forced entry. 2 of them, there was no signs of forced entry, although one of those cases included 4 cars. And then the last case was a tag that was stolen. One of the things I keep getting folks ask me about, because depending on where you're at, like McFerrin Park got hit a lot harder than you guys did. And we've had some numbers in vehicle burglaries lately. And so you've heard me say, and the commander say for years now, talking about Park Smart, and if you locked your car and didn't leave valuables in it, then the likelihood of being a victim of that was slim to none. We're seeing an alarming rate of vehicle burglaries where they're busting out the windows just to rummage through the car. And that's troubling for us because historically, just from a crime data standpoint, which is kind of how we base giving advice out to the public, was that if your car was locked and there was nothing visible that would cause somebody to want to break your window out to get into it, it was so rare that anybody ever broke your windows out. We're having people getting their windows broken out left and right just so they can get in and rummage. So that brings to question a lot of folks calling my office or emailing and going, hey, should I just leave my car unlocked? And it seems totally counterintuitive for me as a cop to go, hey, leave your car unlocked. And I don't think that folks above me in the food chain in terms of rank would be happy if I was telling the community to, leave your stuff unlocked. But from strictly a data standpoint and just as base advice, make sure you don't leave anything in your car, especially car keys, because so many of our cars are stolen because there's car keys in them. So if there's absolutely nothing worth taking and you make the personal choice, wink, wink, to leave it unlocked, then I totally understand. And I wouldn't argue that point. The problem is that, and I do it too, after 18 years of giving this advice out and make sure you lock it, don't leave anything in it. I can't tell you how many times I've been rushing around the house in the morning going, I've got to go to work. Where's my briefcase? Where's my briefcase? And then I go out in the car and where is it? It's in the floorboard of the passenger side because I pulled in the house and I was pulling a trash can in and getting mail. And so I'll be the last person to go, well, you left that in the car. We all do it. Even folks like me that have been preaching this stuff day in, day out. So at the end of the day, my advice is, make a second triple check of bringing valuables in. And then if you feel more comfortable because you just don't want to run the risk of getting a window broken out, leaving it unlocked, I don't blame you. I really don't. And that's more of me just being Mike Fisher as opposed to Metro Police Sergeant Fisher, because I've just seen too many people get a bill to have to go replace a window, and that's expensive. And it kind of is what it is. Past that, you did have one motor vehicle theft over the 900 block of Lishi, and that report was all unknown. Victim stated, hey, my car was locked. I've got the keys. Not sure how they took it. And then the last case was a theft of a dog over on Stockel. And it was kind of a bizarre set of circumstances where the victim in this case was having to move and somebody stepped in to say, we'll foster or keep your animals while you're gone. And then the victim alleged when he came back to reclaim his pets, the person had put given the dog to like a shelter or something. There was issues with getting it back. So he called police and made a theft report because the agreement was, can you just take care of the dog? And then they got rid of his dog. So that's kind of an odd case. That's not like a broad community concern, because I think that's a very isolated, peculiar set of circumstances. So yeah, at the end of the day,
Did your dog hear you talking about dogs?
probably she's like, "Oh my God, don't leave me with those people." This would be Mitch. Mitch is a former Florida racetrack dog that my wife saved. And so she spent her life racing, and now she's spent her life kidnapping.
Yeah, very nice. And
but yeah, that's all I got. I think she knows I'm talking about her. So yeah, no violent crime, which is always a good thing. It's all property, and if I got to talk to a neighborhood, I'd much rather talk about property crime issues. And a lot of the property crime issues that we've got over there in Cleveland Park, I think if we work together and figure out a way to stem these vehicle burglaries, we could make huge strides. We're brainstorming on that, just as for what it's worth, because that's the biggest problem we've got across the board in East, about how we can lower those numbers of vehicle burglaries. We've got a lot of detectives, like undercover detectives, helping us out with this now. And you as a community, man, if y'all have suggestions, I mean, I don't know if it comes down to people making like laminated cards to stick on the door of their car at night to go, "Hey, I've cleaned it out. Don't bother. There's nothing in here." If that would help, I don't know. But maybe we can all get creative together and see what happens. Anybody got questions?
Any
Nope.
questions for the sergeant? We appreciate you being on and giving us a good report. For those of you who just joined us, we had very low crime, all property theft, nothing violent crime this month. So good stuff.
Yeah, as always, if anybody does come up with a question or an issue or a concern or something like, I really wish I'd told them this, y'all know how to find me at the East Precinct. Fire me an email, shoot me a phone call, and I'll get back to you usually within 24 hours. Yeah, whatever y'all need assistance with, we'll be happy to help.
Sounds great.
All right,
Mike.
yeah.
Appreciate it.
Meet you.
Thanks. So just to update everyone, we now have the majority of our board here. Justin, our co-chair, over there.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey,
JP.
neighbor down the street.
Yeah, hey Sam, I was gonna get to you, don't worry. JP and Dominic are
Hey everybody, got
hitting
the
the
baby.
bottle
Sorry.
hard.
Yeah.
Hitting
It's
that
dinner
bottle
time.
hard. Russell is down there on the leopard print. Russell, can you hear us? I don't know if he can hear us. And then Sam McCullough.
How's everybody doing? It's good to see people.
Yeah.
I've done these Zoom things so often now. I think that's the new reality. You see church members on Zoom, neighbors on Zoom, co-workers on Zoom. It's the norm now.
Yep.
Good to see everybody.
Yep, everybody's on Zoom now. One of the neighbors texted me earlier and asked what was on the agenda, and once I told him, he goes, "Yeah, I got to prioritize my Zooms this week." What is this world that we live in that we're prioritizing Zooms? But that's where we are. So, does any other board members, do y'all have anything to add? Russell, do you have any updates for us? If you can hear us, can you hear us, Russell? Russell can hear us.
He says bye.
He's just there. Like he's like, I'm not even gonna there. Justin, do you want to update us on the event that you helped organize last month? Was it last month?
Shoot, maybe time's flying. Yeah, so we had an event in the neighborhood they called Walk with Sean. and he's a resident of the 12 South area, but he previously lived in Cleveland Park. But the purpose of the event is just to, get the neighbors out and just get everybody, to just recognize that some neighborhoods do have like a changing demographics. So let's just be, aware and, just come together as neighbors, just be cognizant of things that's happening around us and, just, treat your neighbors as, somebody who you respect. So, yeah, that happened. Well, I believe it was last month at this point now. We have about 30 or so folks came out. We just did a 2-mile walk from the Cleveland Park center to his old house. It was on Meridian and back to the park. So it was a good time. It was great weather. It wasn't scalding hot, fortunately. And yeah, it was a good vibe. So he has more walks. He has expressed interest of, coming back to Cleveland Park to have like a follow-up event, so I'll keep everybody in the loop on that. And maybe I'll just send some information over to the Facebook group if you want to get a bit more involved and aware of the initiative. So yeah, it was a good turnout. It was a good event.
Awesome. Great. Thanks.
That made it on the Kelly Clarkson show about, they showed a rerun of it, but it originally came on early in the spring, but they showed it not too long ago. She's doing a lot of recycle shows.
Yep,
We're talking about Nashville and Sean. That's cool. I wish I could walk, but my back won't let me.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for that update, Justin. I appreciate it. Russell, were you able to get your audio working? I saw that you rejoined.
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yay! There you are. You want to give us a tree update, beautification? Also, let us know the sad news about cleanups for the moment.
Metro has suspended all cleanups till we return back to phase 3, I think it is, or they'll let us know. So that's just kind of on hold. And for tree activity, I planted 3 new ones in Cleveland Park. 4 new ones. They're struggling. It's hot. It's hard to get water to them, but they're alive. The rest of the ones we did back in the fall are great.
JP just exclaimed, yeah, just in case you were wondering.
And yeah, we did 25 there, but they're all looking pretty good. Even the ones that got damaged by the lawnmowers are still holding. When it gets cool this fall, we're gonna put down lots and lots of mulch. And when that happens, I will reach out and we will wheelbarrow lots of mulch in. And that's what I have.
Sounds good. I wish you guys had been here for the commentary in the background. Something about suck it lawnmowers just happened in my house. My husband's really passionate about trees, is all I can say. There he is. All right. Any other? Sorry, Sean. Sean Parker. I'm gonna jump over to you. Council update. For those of you who don't know, which would be our guests that are here, Sean Parker is our district councilman, and he's regularly attends our meetings and gives us updates.
Yeah, well, thank y'all for having me this evening. I don't have a whole lot to report. There's one zoning bill from Cleveland Park that's going to be introduced at the next council meeting, which is the 6th Street lots that I think Sean Roberge talked with y'all about a couple of meetings ago. Just going with R6 there, so it's considerably less than what was proposed last year. And then one thing that I think everybody should know is we received the city of Nashville received like $120 million worth of CARES Act funding for pandemic response. And the CARES Act committee has decided to utilize 10 million of that for rent and mortgage relief. So anyone who, if you know anyone who is having trouble right now with rent or mortgage payments, I think the easiest way to get connected with that program is to dial 211, because we're utilizing United Way to disperse those funds. And I think 211 gets you right connected with United Way. So just keep that in the back of your mind if you know anybody who might be able to utilize those funds to kind of help make it through this really challenging time.
How much money did you say was going towards that program?
$10 million.
Is that going to go very far?
It depends on there was a couple million from like an initial round of, I think it was some kind of federal money that United Way got. No, this is money that United Way raised themselves through the donation link on the COVID website for Nashville.
Okay.
And they had $3 or $4 million, and it went like that.
Yeah.
So, it's not like a sustainable model for us to utilize funds that way. But I mean, I think there was a desire from the committee to do something immediate with those funds that would help people. So I hope that, people who really are in need are able to utilize that and maybe kind of bridge a gap or even just stay in their home a little bit longer during this, super dangerous time. It's not a great time to be struggling with housing. So just keep that in mind. And anybody have any other questions about that specifically? Okay. Yeah, and then
sorry.
Yeah,
I did have a question. So like this is through United Way, so it's not CARES Fund. So is it just for Davidson County, or is it for like the greater Nashville area?
This program, because this is the money that the federal government gave Nashville specifically for pandemic response. I don't know. I'm almost certain that you wouldn't be able to utilize that program with those funds unless you were a Davidson County resident.
Okay.
Because this was our bucket of CARES funding that went specifically for Nashville. So other counties got their bucket.
Right. I guess I got the United Way. The initial United Way money was independent, and then this is CARES Act. Thanks for clearing that up.
Yes. And United Way is we're basically hired them as a vendor to like distribute these funds.
Okay.
And yes, Sam.
So Sean, did that come in response to so many people saying that the surrounding cities that got money were helping people, and Nashville wasn't doing anything to assist those that lost jobs and things like that? Is that the response to that question? So yeah. Nashville is using that money now for those reasons.
Yes, I mean there's been some folks pushing for this, pretty much since the CARES Act funding was announced.
Right.
And I certainly supported utilizing some amount of money for this. So I'm glad to see, things kind of starting to move with that. I think that the city has about $33 million worth of that CARES funding that has yet to be allocated to anything specific. So we'll find out. I mean, I think that it is prudent to maybe wait and see what's around the corner before we just jump and try to utilize it all,
Right.
Hold on a little bit of it. And so I've been in the same kind of vein. I've been kind of trying to think of ways to help support, small businesses and whatnot. And I've got a bill that is going to be introduced at the next council meeting on Tuesday that will help restaurants temporarily utilize like outdoor areas, like their parking lot, and if the sidewalk is big enough, for additional outdoor dining. Because one of the things that we've kind of realized about the virus is that, the indoor versus outdoor thing is huge. So it's much, much safer to be around other people outdoors than it is inside. So, if we can do a little thing that helps some of these small businesses lose less money. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be making money running a restaurant right now, but if we can help folks lose a little less money over the next few months with this kind of temporary sidewalk cafe thing. I think it's going to be really cool.
That's good.
But besides that, the only zoning bill for Cleveland Park is the 6th Street properties, and then there's the big project down in McFerrin, which I don't know if y'all have followed that one, at the Foster Street site on the other side of the railroad tracks, kind of wedged between Ellington and the railroad tracks. It's a pretty interesting project, and the developers were able to get, I'd say, to a point where the community was somewhat satisfied. They actually ended up, the developers ended up putting in $60,000 for traffic calming infrastructure in the neighborhood, which I think is going to really go a long way, because they've got, and every neighborhood has hotspots for speeding, but they've got Grace I think there's no stops between Dickerson and Lishi on Grace, and just a couple of other spots that I think it's going to really help people feel safer to have some traffic calming stuff around. So that'll be great.
I read something about that. What is it going to be? I've forgotten what it was they're putting in down there. It used to be the old box factory when I was a kid. What is it that they're putting in there? I can't remember what the article said about it.
So it's a mixed use development. So they're doing a few hundred units of housing, and then kind of like, I'm trying to think of a good example. I think Chattanooga it's been years since I've hung around the city of Chattanooga, but it's kind of like like an indoor mall type area where you'd see like different little restaurants, and then there's like maybe a little bit like the farmer's market, but probably more like retail, office kind of mixed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's a very interesting concept, and what I like about it is it's you're not having to knock down any of the neighborhood or any housing, and they're going to preserve some of the historic buildings and integrate them into the development. So I think it's a very interesting project, but it passed planning and it'll be introduced at council first meeting in September. So I definitely encourage everybody I think there might be a recorded Zoom meeting where there were several community meetings about it. So there's probably a recorded one out there that I could find for anyone who's more interested in that project.
If you go to Development Tracker, Sam, you can find their scanned plan is the link in Development Tracker, and it shows like what buildings they plan to go where, and like they've got 600,000 square feet in total going on that land over there, I think, is according to their
cool spot.
Yeah.
Plus, it's been there a long time. That's going to be kind of cool looking. Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll look at that. I'll look at that tonight.
I am curious. I'm curious about the bridge over the railroad tracks. That's going in over there.
Yes.
That they put in their proposal.
They got an easement from CSX to build a bridge just to the south of the pedestrian bridge. They got an easement from CSX to build a bridge over the tracks, because the other point of ingress and egress has, the train stops there all the time and blocks it completely. And then additionally, what I'm really excited about, because I use that pedestrian bridge 2 to 4 times a day, most days, they're gonna redo the pedestrian bridge and make it ADA compliant. Because right now there's steps on the east side of it. So if you happen to wheel a chair up there and you get to the top, and it's like, oh no, I can't make it down these steps. So it'll be great to have that thing smoothed out. And they're going to do some other kind of make some contributions to the planned greenway network there. And they've just been a good team to work with from the developer side.
That's great to hear. I was actually curious. That was going to be my question, is if they were going to have anything to do with the pedestrian bridge. So that's great to hear.
They just need to get TDOT to authorize it, and they're going to pay for it. So
awesome.
We love it when that happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That used to be a main walking path when I was little, that you could walk from this side and you would come up in the old Frederick Douglass Park. When you crossed over there, Ellington Parkway didn't exist then, and you could just walk on through, and people used to walk back and forth all the time that lived on this side of the neighborhood. and they would have friends that they walked to and visited that lived on the side, they call it the Main Street side. So that'll be cool to have that reconnected again.
It will.
Yeah, that's exciting.
I haven't seen that in about 50 years. So,
Well, do you have anything else for us, Sean?
I don't. I mean, you know, I can sit here and talk forever, but I will have to leave at about 7:25 because I have another Zoom. So we can.
Wow.
I'll go ahead and wrap up. If anybody has any questions or anything you want to reach me about, just email me or call me anytime.
Thank you, Sean, for getting them to clean the alley back here. I sent you those pictures. That was really a disaster, but thanks again for them getting on it so quickly.
They've been on top of stuff lately. They've been doing good. Public Works
I
has.
see.
I can echo that. The top broke off of our garbage can, and so it was full of rainwater. I had to reach out to them to get a new one. They had it to us within like 2 days, which was,
Nice.
I mean, really fast for what I was expecting it to be like 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
2 days is pretty impressive. So
Yeah. They've been good. They did a little leadership kind of between water and the mayor's office and Public Works, and you know I think it was a really smart move. The new director, I got a chance to meet with her. I think it was Monday of this week, and I forget her first name, Sharon. I think Director Whitelaw is her last name, and she's super sharp. I think it's going to be a really good move for everybody.
Good.
great. Well, thanks again for being on the call. Yeah, we'll if you got to sign off early, we totally understand. Well, actually, we just have one thing left. We're just gonna turn it over to our developer presentation today. Ryan Gallagher, is that right?
Yes.
And I'm assuming Allie, because that's what the computer screen says.
Yeah, not for long though. We're getting married in 2 days.
Oh my gosh,
Oh, wow.
congratulations.
Well,
Yeah,
congratulations.
so it's a busy week for us. But
I would imagine so.
yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time
yeah,
to
no,
attend
we
the
wanted
Cleveland Park
to.
Neighborhood Zoom. We appreciate you being here and telling us.
Yeah.
So
No, we wanted to introduce ourselves, you know, and kind of pitch our idea. And
now, do y'all live in the neighborhood?
we don't. No, we're from Nashville, born and raised. We both moved away to go to school. I was in the Navy for a little bit, but we moved back a couple years ago and just been kind of looking for you know, our place, right? And I think we found it, and you know, hopefully we're right. So, you know, like you said, Sarah, we want you know, we want feedback. This is where we want to live, and we don't want to do it in a way that's going to you know, cause animosity, or you know, we don't want to do anything that the neighborhood doesn't want us to do. You know, this is going to be our home. You guys are going to be our neighbors, and so we want to do this, you know, alongside you guys.
Great. Well, the floor is yours. Let's,
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Go on through.
Yeah. So, like I said, you know, we're not developers. We're coming in to, you know, do this project. We have a great opportunity through the VA where I am able to build several units. That's, you know, funding is secured by the government. So we, you know, thought we would build, you know, a single family home, but this, I think, is you know, a much better opportunity for us. And I think, you know, the way we've got it laid out, I think it's a good opportunity for the community as well. But, you know, truly that's where my, you know, expertise, if any, ends. So I've got the team from Smith G here to answer some, you know, probably more technical questions about the building and the zoning and all of those things, because truthfully we know nothing about that. So so if anybody has any questions for us, you know, our you know, what we're trying to do, you know, our intention with the property and the project, you know, we're not just available here during this call. You know, we'll get our information to you, and you know, feel free to reach out anytime at all with questions. And with that, I'll probably just pitch it to Greg and Jewel, and they can kind of tell you in a little bit more detail what we're planning.
Yeah, thanks, Rod. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Coming in clear on my end.
Okay, good. So my name is Greg Tidwell. I'm a founding principal of Smith G Studio. We're a local architecture, interior, and land planning, urban design firm here in Nashville. Some of you have probably met my associate, Scott Morton, who's a resident in East Nashville. I understand he's presented before this community meeting before. Unfortunately, Scott was not available to make it tonight, as a lot of community meetings are being held tonight also, video chat wise. So I agreed to fill in for him. Jewel Anderson with Smith G Studio is also on the call tonight. She's project manager for this rezoning project and design and development project. And the property we're looking at with Ryan is 215 Cleveland Street. And if you guys don't mind, I'm going to share my screen really quick and bring a few exhibits up just to familiarize you with the location and the proposed site plan. So the host, it looks like, is going to need to give me permissions to share screen.
Yeah, hold on one second. I'm working on it. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Did that do it?
Let's see. Perfect. Thank you.
There you go. Yeah.
So what you see, hopefully on the screen right now, and I'm going to drag a window. Let's see. There we go. This is the location map on Metro's GIS server, just to get everyone familiar with the parcel. It's at the corner of Cleveland and Stockwell Street, and it's on the northeast corner of that intersection. So if you can see my cursor, it's the property that I'm kind of circling with my cursor there currently. My understanding is this was presented as a 6-unit potential infill development previously, and per comments back from the community meetings, we've kind of revisited the site with another look and pass and listen to those comments to what you're seeing on your screen now. So just to kind of point out, the site itself is over here at Stockwell, Cleveland, the corner site. And just to familiarize yourself, this is the McGavick House SP. That's kind of the orange color you see. That's under construction presently. Our studio actually designed that project. We did not do the SP rezoning for it, but we did come in and design the project there. There's one existing single-family home between the McGavick House SP and the subject property at 215. So the current, and just to kind of highlight, there's some character images, photographs of those projects. There's the circles here you see. This was taken today. This was the progress on McGavick House SP to give you a little bit of understanding of what's adjacent as far as density, setback, height, architectural character. The circle that I'm looking at here now, that's the single family bungalow style home that sits between the two properties. And then the circle over on the left, that is the property that's recently been redeveloped adjacent to 215 on Stockwell Street, just to give you some character of what's surrounding us there. So the proposed rezoning that we're looking for would be a specific plan. And right now we're looking for 2 duplex units on that corner parcel. That helps break up the massing of the buildings a little bit more than what was previously presented. It also allows some really good frontage and porches on Cleveland Street and on Stockwell Street as well. So by kind of breaking it up into 2 smaller buildings, we're actually able to present a front to both of those streets with entries, which we feel is very appropriate for the neighborhood. I'm going to zoom in to the next image to get a little bit closer look at the specific site plan we're looking at. Again, Cleveland and Stockwell, the intersection there. So we've labeled the buildings or the units 1, 2, 3, and 4. So units 3 and 4, there's a few site constraints we're working around as we're looking at the site plan here. One is the historic stone wall that runs along Cleveland Street. We also had to work that into our site design for the McGavick House townhomes as well. Metro Historic is very sensitive to that wall, and as we did at the McGavick House SP development, we pretty much had to leave that wall intact as it is. They would not let us even touch it there. So we anticipate we'll be leaving that historic wall along the sidewalk as it is. Up Stockwell Street, we will be improving the street edge there to meet Metro Public Works standard with a 4-foot planting strip for street trees and then a new 5-foot sidewalk on that edge. You see there's a driveway access off Stockwell Street. All the parking is in private garages, 2-car garages in the rears of the townhome units. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's what the little dashed arrows represent. Those are each 2-car garages on the ground floor level with a programmed room in front. So there would be a room that opens off onto the porches fronting those streets. We're also looking, because of the density and height here, providing a type A landscape buffer between this property at 215 and the adjacent property, which is a single family home. So a type A landscape buffer at 5 feet would require a wall or fence as part of that buffer for privacy and screening. So that would be what we're proposing there to buffer against that, that single family home there. We also know we're going to be dealing with stormwater considerations. So what you see labeled with the SWs is the areas that we're using to manage stormwater runoff from the buildings and the impervious surfaces in the lot. What we've done is taken the stormwater conveyance at the corner of Cleveland and Stockwell and used that to kind of create a little bit of more green landscaped open space and hold the corner of the duplex for 3 and 4 off the corner a little bit, give it a little bit more breathing room, you know, and provide some nice planting so that someday we would expect to have some tree canopy there as those trees mature, which we feel would be really nice for that intersection. So we're looking at a total, again, of 4 units. Building height wise, we're looking at 3 stories. So you would have a tuck under garage on the ground floor. Your main living level would be on the 2nd floor, and then you would have bedroom suite on the 3rd floor. We've also prepared some architectural character images. Now, a lot of times, you know, we're so early in this process right now from a design standpoint that we really haven't designed the homes. So usually at this level of where we are, we use architectural photographic character imagery a lot to kind of express potential scale, height, massing, and get some conversation and response back from the neighborhood. So that's what this exhibit represents, are some potential possibilities for architecture character. We've included some different looks, some that are contemporary, some that are more modern, and some that have some pitched roof forms and gables and a little bit more nod to traditional residential forms. We do think that there's a possibility with these homes to have some rooftop outdoor terraces that would be accessed via a stair, kind of penthouse towards the rear or back side of the home. So it wouldn't necessarily add additional height to the building to get some terrace use on the roof. So that's what some of the images represent as far as string lights and some nice outdoor amenity space there. So for the zoning case, what we're looking for is a specific plan zoning. And in the specific plan zoning, we're submitting it as a 1-page, what we would call a regulatory SP, based on a base zoning of RM15A. So RM15A is a medium density zoning that would fall within the community character under Nashville Next for this area. The transect here is T4 neighborhood evolving. T4 is an urban neighborhood evolving transect. And what that tells us in the community character manual is it's an area there along Cleveland where per Nashville Next is expecting a little bit more of an evolving development pattern, maybe a little bit more density. And that's what on the GIS plan, you see the kind of darker shaded area of the property is on both sides of the Cleveland Street corridor there. That's all in the T4 neighborhood evolving transect. So we're seeking a zoning that doesn't maximize the possibility of density per that transect, but is not on the opposite end of the lowest density allowed in that transect. We're somewhere right in the middle, which I feel is pretty appropriate for the context and the development pattern present along the corridor. Some of the things we're also looking to write into the SP to respond to some neighborhood concerns about massing and height. Currently, like under an R6 zoning, 6,000 square foot minimum lot size, the height would allow for a single story or attached duplex up to 3 stories and 45 feet. We're willing to write into the SP document a 35-foot maximum building height, and that would be the top of parapet for a flat roof. So we're kind of listening to some of the comments that the community has made and responding by bringing our allowable height down from what's currently allowed as a building height in that zone. Also with the building orientation, we're writing into the SP that we will be fronting both Cleveland and Stockwell Street. And I'll bring that exhibit back up. So sometimes you'll see developments where you don't get a lot of kind of front door architecture facing the street, and it can be a detriment to the community because, you know, security and eyes on the street are a big part of what we believe are good neighborhood principles, front porches and things like that. So within the SP, we'll be writing in the requirement to have frontages on both those streets. So that's kind of where we are right now. Again, we're kind of at the very early parts of the process. I believe the SP, preliminary SP, was a one-page document that was submitted to Metro Planning, I believe, yesterday. So Metro Planning is reviewing it from a zoning perspective and community planning perspective to make sure it's appropriate for their vision and the city's vision for Nashville Next for the corridor on Cleveland Street. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions you might have.
So basically you're looking at like 4 units, 2 on each side of that line. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. It's 2 buildings and each building would have 2 units.
Okay.
Did the initial SP that y'all submitted address the short-term rental use of the property?
So with the STRP, my understanding is because it is a residential zoning district, it by zoning, current zoning, would not be able to permit a non-owner occupied STRP. But as a residential zoning district, what would be permitted without, you know, writing any additional language in the SP, it would permit an owner-occupied STRP unit, meaning that an owner would have to have it as a dwelling unit that they live in and would rent it out occasionally.
And
it would not be a third party.
We have absolutely, yeah, for what it's worth, we have absolutely no intention of going that route. That's the last thing that we want to do. So, and I know it's important to have that on the application if it needs, but just from our position, that's not even on the table.
Yeah, that's good to hear. That's definitely something that comes up in a lot of our conversations about development. So
yeah, well, like I said, we're from Nashville. We see what's going on here. You know, we're going to live there. We don't want you know, the chaos and the crowds. You know, we care what this place is going to look like and
so y'all do plan on occupying one of these?
We do,
yes.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, good. So that'll only be 3 out there. But that's good to know because that location is a good view of downtown, fireworks. You can see a lot, and it would be a hot spot for short-term rental. And I'm glad
That'll never happen on our watch.
I'm glad that's good to know.
So that, per the question, that is something that could be written into the SP about short-term rental specifically, yes. And that's the beauty of the SP. Instead of going to a base rezoning of just saying we're going to rezone to RM15A, the SP allows additional language to be added to that zoning bill, an additional regulation, which gives the community a little bit more assurance of exactly what's going to be built, how it's going to be used.
And before I have to go, this is not specifically related to the development, but I was just wondering, Allie, would you, you said you were a Nashville native and your last name, Dethridge, is a little bit unusual. Would you happen to be related to Ricky that worked at the probate court clerk's office for many years?
Ricky? Do you know a Ricky Dethridge?
I don't.
I don't think so. We could be, but not that I know of.
There's a lot of them between here and Winchester.
There is. Okay, I thought it was kind of an uncommon name, but
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong. But okay, I just had to ask.
It's not Winchester, is it? My bad.
You got family in town for the wedding?
Yeah,
We do,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that you could turn that over to the next of kin. Do we know another Dethridge?
Yeah.
And Sarah Beth, as you were saying earlier when we started, I know it's a small group here tonight, and I'm thankful that you're recording this because I would like to get a little bit more input as more people get their eyes on this this plan.
Yeah, we really want feedback. We want to do this the right way. We want to do it. We're really excited about this. But again, we want to do it the right way. So.
Well, I mean, you guys did pick the best street in the neighborhood, just saying that from
True.
Stockwell Street residents. So.
I know, I agree. That's why we're so excited.
We're in one of the big blue houses down the block. So,
Oh, really?
yes.
on the same side, right?
Yeah, on the same side. Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Do y'all have any sense of if this were to move forward, through planning and council, the timeline for when you would get started and when you would have it finished?
As soon as possible. Yeah, that might be a better question for Greg, but I know that, we're looking to, as soon as we get the approvals and the permits and everything that we need, the next day.
You're looking to move in.
Yeah, we're tired of paying rent.
It would be expensive here in Nashville, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Folks, I have to go, but I do thank everyone for being here and y'all for presenting and I'm glad this is being recorded so other folks can check it out. But thanks again for having me.
Thanks, Sean. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
nice to meet you, Sean.
Thanks.
Sean.
Thanks for
Talk with you later.
attending.
All right. Do we have any other questions from the board?
JP here. Sorry, I'm not on video. I'm grilling chicken in the backyard.
I can smell it.
Yeah.
Good, I'll be over in 5 minutes.
We got plenty, so come on. No, I was just going to say, with the SP, I do think you'll get full, I don't speak for everybody, but I think more people would buy in if you did write in to the SP that short-term rentals were not part of it. That's always been a sticking point of this group. And so I think that would be a good thing to add. And just generally, that corner has been ripe for someone to fix it up for quite some time. So I'm glad to see somebody's doing it. And so thank you for taking that on.
Well,
I don't know. I kind of missed the pink hippo stuffed animal that was stuck up on the side of the air conditioning unit to insulate on the corner.
Yeah, that was a creative installation for sure.
Well, when we get there, we'll join you in the fight against the short-term rentals.
Glad to hear it.
I just
look forward to it.
Yeah.
I just think that, given the density on the opposite corner of that same block, it's 4 units is it's good. It fits the character, it fits the context, and it's not nearly as dense as that other corner. So
I think I
That's my
speak
2
for
cents. Agree.
just kind of in general. I mean, because I know, Sean, in the development that you're doing, you're really trying to stick with the character of the neighborhood. And I know the images that you showed, Greg, were a very wide variation of what they could look like. But if we could keep it close to the historic character of the neighborhood, I think that would go a long way to, kind of easing everyone into it a little bit and really kind of matching what we've got going on.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we want to. I mean, we're not going to come in with a crazy postmodern, conceptual, weird looking building.
Nor will we want to design a crazy postmodern.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and just for the board to hear, we as an architecture studio, we don't really prescribe to any specific styles. We do everything from ultra modern, and me particularly in the studio, I do a lot of design for what we call community development architecture, which is more traditional neighborhood development architectural patterns. So we do everything in between. For us, it's more about sense of character and place and making sure it beautifies the community.
Well, I think that would look nice.
We don't want to stand out.
Well, we're glad.
What was that, Sam?
I said I think that would look real nice on that corner. It'll be an enhancement to the neighborhood.
Thanks, Sam.
Well, any other questions? I think we're all set at this point. So, and like I said, obviously we've mentioned it's being recorded. So, I'm sorry, my dog keeps coming up the stairs and trying to attack my cat. This is being recorded, so we'll post this to the Facebook group and kind of put it out there for any feedback that we set. If you've got, Greg, kind of a summary of the plans that we could post to, I doubt that there'll be many people who want to watch an hour-long Zoom meeting. So what I'll probably do is post it and then let people know what the time frame is for when we have this discussion. But if you've got like a summary, like a picture that we could post.
Sure. We've got the PDF document that we just presented tonight. We will get that to you guys. It's public record now, I believe, since it's been submitted as the one-page SP. So we can send a documentation to you that you can share with the neighborhood.
Perfect. That would be great.
So what we presented on this call, I guess is what I'm saying. Since we've got it already on the video, we'll send you that PDF that you could send to people.
That's perfect. Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. Well, thanks again, you guys, for coming on and presenting. We always appreciate it when people, take consideration for what the neighborhood has to say. It's really helpful for us. And if nobody has anything else, we'll call it a night.
All right.
Well, thank you, everyone.
See you guys.
Everybody have a good night.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.